first question, how are you feeling going into it? Was the mindset going for this record at all, or was it more just trying to get the time qualifier for NCAAs?
Yeah, like I know my coach definitely wanted to just get the time qualifier, but in the back of our mind, me and Parker both were like, okay, we probably can run really fast. So definitely, just really, we thought we could run fast, and we were going to go do that regardless. And an NCAA time was going to kind of come with that. So yeah, we had that planned. Obviously, 7:30 is maybe a little faster than we thought, but besides that, like, yeah, we were gonna go for it.
After performance at Cross Nationals, did that give you a little confidence? Because that was definitely super good for you.
I have never had a race give me the amount of confidence that cross nationals race gave me. All of cross country, I mean, it just was building and building and building, and I finished off the season with a great performance. I've never really been able to run cross country like that. So to finish off my cross country career in such a positive way, when in the past I've been known to run really good track and okay cross country. So to finish off my collegiate cross country career with a really good performance, it gave me a lot of confidence going, kind of into my comfort zone on the track. So yeah, definitely. I've never had a race give me the amount of confidence that race did. So that was obviously a positive going into the 3K.
Before the 3K, how much were you guys touching track specific workouts and just 60-second quarter pace?
Yeah, I mean, in cross country, like I don't think I touched race pace outside of racing, like even 10K race pace until late October. So really none. We raced good cross country, and we maybe touched outside of hills. Hills we do speed work. So like we'll get down roll, run 5K, 3K pace up the hill, but that's about it. Like we didn't get on the track and do any pace specific work until after NCAA's. We did two workouts. So one was like 250s at like right at race pace, and then the week of the 3K we did some 600s, got starting at race pace and got a little faster, but really not much pace specific work. It was a lot of strength based stuff, a lot of racing, because we did race a lot during cross country and then hills. So I think I think I react very well to the type of work we did all fall. And like I said before, I think we hit the training really well this fall, and I think we can definitely carry that into the spring and the winter and spring.
At this point, when you're on the line, are you feeling the nerves, or how are you feeling in that moment?
No, I haven't been nervous for very many races this year. Definitely a little bit more so on this day than a lot of the cross country races. I was really, really nervous before Cross Nats. That was like the first race all year that I got super nervous before. But no, I mean, like I said, I got a lot of confidence from Cross Nats, so I was really just like got on the line, knew what I wanted to do, and there wasn't really anything that was gonna be able to stop me from at least trying to do that. But yeah, we got out well. Follow the pacer, and I wanted to try be as close to Parker at all times. So we had like the 4 or 5 names that we wanted to be. If they were in front of us, that was okay. So like if Yassine was in front of you, that's okay. If Justine Kipkoech was in front of us, that's okay. If Gary was in front of us, that's okay. We figured the two guys who finished fifth and sixth, Adam Spencer and Nathan Green, would be probably following us. We didn't expect them to be up too far. We knew they would be close behind, but yeah, those like 3 or 4 people, we were like, okay, if they're in front of us, that's okay. We're in a good spot. But if there's anybody else, it's important that we try to move up and get around them. And you can see that's what Parker will start doing here before I do. I waited a little longer to move up. You'll see a little bit of jostling and stuff with some of the New Mexico guys, but yeah, right here it was just kind of get in line and in flow. Try to make it as far as possible into the race without having to make any moves.
As you're coming across, are you noticing the clock at all, or is that not really in your vision at all?
Definitely, I think I looked at the clock every lap, and typically, I don't know if some people, you're not really supposed to do that, but just with the pacer, it honestly didn't even feel like a race at this point yet. It was trying to put myself in a good position for when the race started, which it felt like it started right around 2K when the pacer stepped off. But you can see here I'm moving around New Mexico guy, and I think Justine's about to come flying around me. So and then New Mexico guy followed him. So you'll see a little bit of jostling right here, maybe a little push, but it was just trying to not let too many people in front of me, just because when it got real, I knew we were going to start rolling, and some people, if they couldn't handle it, I was going to get stuck behind some people. So definitely running a little bit in lane 2 throughout this part of the race, but that was okay, because later in the race when we really started running fast, I was pretty much on the rail.
Did you notice at all when the pacer was picking up a little? I know I listened to an interview with Yassine, and just him saying I think he requested maybe a little bit faster through a mile or through like 5 minutes. So he was saying he requested it, so he for sure wanted to be on it. But did you notice? I think it was like a minute ago where Josh, the front pacer there, started to move up a little bit, and Yassine covered that. And now you can see where you and Parker are kind of filed in.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about, like, I had heard Yassine had requested like 5:02 or like 4:01. And I was a little nervous just because I've never, the fastest I had come through a mile in a 3K before was 4:09. Although that was a long time ago, I was still, we're coming off cross country. Maybe we should try to ramp it up a little bit. But then when I came through 4:03, 4:04, it felt good. So I was just really excited. But really from about a mile to like 2,400 meters, I was in some serious pain. It was just kind of like right around here. I was just kind of just hanging on, staying as close as possible. But we started separating here, and then Gary makes a smart move to get on the group of 5 right here. So
did you guys plan a certain lap that you wanted to kick on? I know you guys closed in like 26, so you really went that last lap. Was there any planning where you knew you really wanted to throw down the hammer at any point?
I didn't know, like, obviously if I'm there with a lap to go, like, obviously that's when I'm going to try to go, especially on the indoor track. I mean, you have to realize it's only 200 meters. With the lap to go, it's only 200 meters to go. So you really should probably be rolling at that point. I think Parker was supposed to wait a little bit longer than he did. But he gets a little antsy, and he knows he likes to try to run away from people. But yeah, and then right here you can see the group of 4 kind of splits. We all went around Justine, and this is when Josh really started pulling, because I think he was starting to hurt and started kind of getting in his finish. You can see him swinging his arms, kind of a little crazy, but he did a fantastic job. Like, I honestly couldn't have asked for a better pacer.
Are you hurting here at all, or you're still feeling pretty good?
Definitely. And this is like the last time I looked at the clock. So I looked at the clock and saw 5:04, and I was like, and I knew we weren't slowing down. Like, I could just generally feel the pace throughout the next few laps. So I knew, like, whoever won the race was probably going to come away with the record. So yeah, right here, I was just staying on the rail and staying smooth. But yeah, I was starting to hurt right about here for sure.
What were the thoughts whenever the pacer stepped off? Were you thinking like you're going to be okay, or you still just like really trying to use the other guys as much as possible to make sure you're going to be able to be there?
Yeah, and I knew I was up far enough that, like, I wasn't necessarily worried. The only time I got a little worried was, I think, on this next lap when Gary really came up next to me. I wanted to be behind Parker, because I knew when he went, I was going to follow. That was kind of just like in my mind. When Parker decides he wants to go, you're going to go with him. You're not going to let yourself out of that. So when Gary was coming right up here, came up on my shoulder, I got a little nervous, because I had a feeling Parker was probably going to get going soon. But I just hung on the rail, and eventually it just reopened up for me. So yeah, we learned at the trials a lot last year. It's like when the pace is slower, you can afford being in lane 2 a little bit more, because you're just running a pace that's more comfortable. Whereas when you're running this fast, like in the final, I was out in lane 2 jostling around again, and I lost a lot of energy, because when it's faster, you're supposed to you might be better off just sitting on the rail. But Parker really started pulling here.
And a little bit like 15 seconds ago too, I think you guys all made the pass by Yassine. Is there anything you do specifically to try and do a good pass to make sure you get by clean, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, not really. I just kind of, like, if I'm gonna go around somebody, I'm gonna make it decisive. I think you get in a lot of trouble when it's like when you're not sure if that's something you should do, but I knew that was the right move, so it worked out. But yeah, right here, going around bench here, Parker gave a little look back. You can see him checking behind his shoulder the whole time. He wanted to get rid of me, and I was just right here. I was just hanging on for dear life, get me to the last straightaway, and then see if I could maybe go around him. But I mean, it actually came down to a lean. Like I just leaned a little bit harder than he did. So I didn't, and then I looked up at the clock when I laid down, and I was just like, okay, that's kind of awesome. Like I knew we were going to run fast at that point, but 7:30 is just really fast. But no, I mean the race was, I think it was executed perfectly. The pacers were perfect, and then once the pacer stepped off, we really competed well. So I mean, I think that situation was set up perfectly, and then obviously the atmosphere of BU is incredible. And I definitely took advantage of my first time ever racing there. So,
what's it like training with Parker? Obviously, now you two at UNC being number 1 and 2 all time in a 3K. And I know people talk about a lot how you guys play to each other's strengths. But what's it like just knowing every day you're going to have someone there pushing you?
Yeah, I mean it's what like people who want to be world class get when they go pro. So to have that like in a college setting it's incredible. Like I don't at UNC right now, I have everything I need to be successful, and a lot of people go to college hoping for that. So for me to actually have that here or at UNC is amazing. And obviously, you see, we work really well off each other in races now. In training, we're getting to the point where we can do a lot more stuff together. So yeah, we have it set up really nicely right now, and we're gonna keep working together, and it's gonna be a fun season for both of us. So,
Have you thought about or talked with Coach Mill about what the events might be looking like? I know you guys have maybe a nasty DMR that could be at nationals, and then I know you've done the mile before a lot, but now I feel like maybe it's just to the public people seeing. Maybe you knew before, but you could definitely throw down some crazy times in 3K and then 5K even too.
yeah, I don't like. I mentioned this another time is like for indoor track, like the events that we want to run are probably the 3K DMR at Nats. If things shape, like obviously things can move around. Like I'm going to run a mile this season, so if I need to run the mile at NCAA's, I will hopefully have that option. But I think what we're focused on is like we got our time out of the way for the 3K. I'll need to get my time out of the way for the DMR, which I think we're gonna run really fast, and we have a lot of guys on the team who can take those spots and be a part of something really cool. But I think for outdoor is really why the reason we're not going to run a 5K this indoor season is because I want to have the option to run it outdoor, but to make outdoor Nats, it's more about racing. It's not necessarily about, okay, how fast can you run the 5K? Like I could run 13:40 outdoor and then go to regionals and race my way into Nats. So I don't necessarily need to see that on paper to like know I'm capable of running a fast 5K. So probably not a 5K indoor, but that's fine. It's because I believe that once I get out there and if I get into a good situation with the 5K, I'd be able to run pretty fast and compete pretty well with a lot of good guys.
For sure. Yeah, well, I appreciate you hopping on, Ethan. Good luck
Of
with
course.
the rest of the season. I'm sure you boys are going to be crushing it over at UNC.
Yeah, thank you for having me.